What's up, y'all? What's up? What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. Stopping to do another video. I hope everyone is good today. Staying safe and warm out of those cold temperatures and that snow as we approach the new year. Continue to be safe. Continue to check on your loved ones, make sure they're all right. There's many that are dealing with hard times during these holiday seasons and even as we go into the new year. So jumping right on into this video, it's easy to be distracted, right? It's easy for the enemy to distract many people, many different ways. I've been sharing and talking about for some time for these past few years how God has been warning us. It's not just me. God has been speaking through many different people, right, all over the world for some time at different time frames, right? Also, His Word, okay? He's been speaking through His Word. You can't make anybody change, once again. You can't make anybody listen. You can't make anybody hear. It's to each his own. But a part of being a believer, we are obligated, right, to share the truth, to be disciples, right, to be good stewards. So it's not that we just do it for ourselves. We do it to help other people, right? So, of course, if somebody's listening to this video that's not a believer, I hope you get saved or you're seeking God. But really, some things that we talk about and discuss is not for everybody. Everybody's not going to believe, and that's their choice. We have free will. So what was it? Monday morning, when I got up, I heard the words "ready or not." So I'm like, Lord, what does this mean? What does that mean? I mean, it's self-explanatory, ready or not. And I'll be honest, God is still working on me. So the song that came to my head was, who was it? Was it the Refugees? Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm just gonna be honest, that's what came to my mind. But with me saying all of that, would God have been giving us warning? Would God have been giving an inward witness? Like, it's like a trigger has went off in many all over the world as far as wanting growth, wanting change for some. Some getting wake-up calls from the perspective of you can't live and do what you want to do how you want to do it. At some point, things catch up to you, right? The enemy is so crafty, and like I said, it's so easily for many to be distracted or even be deceived to think that, okay, I can just live my life like I want with no consequences. But then when things begin to happen, people get upset and frustrated and like, I can't believe this person is going to jail, or I can't believe this person died, or I can't believe this happened in this marriage, or I can't believe their kids doing this, or I can't believe all this other stuff. But it comes a time where some things you reap what you sow, right? The lifestyle that you live, the choices that you make, some will say karma, but it always comes back around. Okay, when you do wicked stuff or shady stuff, or even just certain environments you in, or being around certain people, if you know that it might be damaging or detrimental, or as I said, kind of shady, it can cost you. It can cost you. So as I said, ready or not, a lot of times we listen to worldly antics. Like, we have so many that are giving good suggestions, right? Giving all these solutions on what we should do, far as marriage, what we should do in relationships, what we should do as far as our kids, just different things. And as a believer, our growth and change, because we've been so entangled with the world, we don't move the same. So many people that are talking, and some may even say they're believers, if they're the things that they're talking about, If it's not geared around the word of God, it's worldly antics. Just straightforward. Because like I said, it's easier. Some people don't want you to be don't be so churchy, so deep. But where we are at now, okay, it's time out for the foolishness. As far as what you do, it comes back. There's different things in the Bible, prophecies, different things that have happened and that are still happening that many are trying to run from or not deal with, right? Even just everyday things that we see happening in our families, everyday things happening in the world, right? When you become a believer and you begin to change and grow and mature, that's a part of the process. So that's when we should come out of worldly antics as far as your life can't change, that you can't have better, because as far as I'm concerned, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody falls. I tell folk all the time, I'm not Jesus and neither are you. So going by what the world says as far as what you can have and what you can acquire would not be the same. So let me say it like this. The more God begins to work on you, the more you begin to become aware, the more you come out of your sin, the more you're seeking him, it allows him to give you opportunity, grace and mercy, opening up doors, healing you in your relationships, just working on you as a individual, right? You're in your relationship. But some folk will be like, well, no, you did this, you do that, you can't have change, or, people need to leave you alone, don't talk to you, don't listen to all that. Okay? It's okay to want to have things, it's okay to want to be married. It's okay to want to have kids. It's okay to want the best for your family. But there's some things that are going to have to take place that many are not ready for. Because of the distractions, because of being so consumed with, honestly, the things of this world, like money, becoming rich, all these different things, as far as the motive behind it is not sincere. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with getting things. There's nothing wrong with having nice things. But when that becomes your all-out motive and you're not even working on yourself, you're not working on your family, you're not dealing with those underlying issues that you have. We see a lot of folk pointing the finger at this person, that person, men, women. So it's nothing but a bunch of chaos. But at the same time, behind the scene, the enemy is busy. If you even look at what this blizzard that took place, come on, let's be real, right? The enemy shows us so many different things in plain sight through movies, through things they even say. And God allows things to happen. So like I said before, like the pandemic, it allowed people to change and, want to seek God for a moment. Then when, you got the blizzard, you got all these different things that God allowed to happen, didn't change folk for but a moment. Still consumed with, I gotta get this and I gotta have that, and giving this these different scenarios on how to get rich and how to build your inheritance. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to build, but that's like all we hear. So from some of this even coming from believers, and I'm like, do y'all read the Bible, or do y'all have discernment? Because some of the things, many of the things that are taking place and that are happening, money not gonna save you. We see a lot of people that are out of their mind. Death tolls, again, are on an all-time high. So we have to get ready and buckle up, taking the necessary precautions. But at this time, you can't, like I said, you can't make nobody change. You can't make nobody see. We pray people get it. But along the way, this is a time where wisdom is vital, right? Your understanding, being able to apply what you've learned, because Satan is moving. Like, he's moving. Okay? God is moving too. And I mentioned a few times this past year that depending on your position will depict what you experience. So we have many that have become very technology savvy, right? They're so good with technology. They're so book smart, so witty, so knowledgeable. But when it comes down to like survival, I'm concerned myself, and even to be alarmed with how some would respond, even some of our men. So that even allows me to see how crafty the enemy has been over the years and over the generations to have so many distracted and entangled and traumatized and mentally blown, so they are not aware or even prepared for what is already here and what's coming. Okay, this year has been different. This year is almost up. We're going into 2023. And many, have the illusion that, oh, I'm just going to do this and I'm just going to do that. Every day is a blessing, and taking one day at a time. So even looking for perfection is not what it is. And we've had so many that have not taken accountability. So what we see is many people will ignore the truth, ignore the obvious, ignore facts, how so many people's lives have been damaged, have been hurt, so much dysfunction. And we brush it off with, get rich quick and, basically, unless if you a baller, unless if you play sports, be a hoe, or thought, those are the only ways to be successful. That will make a people feel like they have no hope. So I did a video the other day when the question arose to me again, can these dry bones live? Can a people that has been so desolate so long, so oppressed, and even so consumed, where we have been so manipulated and so caught in the moment, where some people are still in that fairy tale dream where, it's just going to all change overnight. No. Destruction before restoration. And when you have people that don't want to listen, when God has allowed all different things to take place to get our attention, for us to get back to the basics, drawing back to Him. Even the other day, and this is a conversation that has been that me and some other individuals have had a few times, as far as about sin and the weight. As far as like sin is sin, there is no, sin higher than the other one. Okay. Yes, sin is sin, but sin carries weight. And different sins' weight is more the effects and consequences come more quickly. They're more heavy. If you look around and see, okay, different things that we see taking place. I've talked about people's countenance and just doors that have been opened from different sins that we've had. Many will try to justify, we gotta love it. Yeah, we love everybody, but just because I love you, what they got to do with it? I don't have to agree with you to love you. Okay, that's the baffling part. People feel like everybody has to be in agreement with each other. I don't agree with everybody. I don't agree with all systems, some things that are taking place. I'm not in agreement with it. Okay, disobedience. Okay, we have been a rebellious generation, disobedient. God has been speaking to us, dealing with His people, and some it's just going right over their head, in one ear and out the other. We see all these devastating things happening. We see people dying right and left. Just so much that's happening. And it's going right over people's head. Because they feel like let me say it like this. The enemy has got, like I said, have so many people so traumatized, so messed up, where their only focus is getting what they want. So many have missed the message, right, of what God has been striving to give us. Seeking ye first the kingdom of God, right? Also coming out of sin, turning from our wicked ways. So when men, not just men, but when many begin to see the death tolls rising again, we seeing these unforeseen deletions, different ones going out of their mind again, so-called random deaths, different things taking place. We live in a wicked world. So when we don't take the time to acknowledge what we see and what we're dealing with, and then social media got a lot of folk blown and throw anyways. This fairy tale picket fence. And like I said, it's not everybody. It's nothing wrong, I said, enjoying yourself, having a good time. But you have some, their motives are off. It's more for attention. It's more for performance based. This fairy tale thing. And you have so many people that follow behind that stuff, especially even believers. Following behind the narrative, or I want this. It's like a child with candy. I want that, I want this. And this is a time, even with your finances, being mindful of your spending, being mindful how you move. Okay, God was not preparing us for nothing. Okay, I'm sure those folk, once again, we say this again with something else. With the blizzard, I'm sure that many wish they would have listened. People died from being in their cars. Okay, sometimes folk sometimes sit your butt still. Sit down. I talked about even moving out the way. And even if things do come to you, okay, the weapons of our warfare, come on. Even the weapons are formed. They don't have to prosper, because if you prepared and you listen, then that means you won't be affected the way some others will be affected because you prepared beforehand. But if you didn't, it's a possibility it could be detrimental. That's what we've been seeing. I mean, it is what it is, okay? Many, like I said, not listening. You can't make anybody hear. The cost, okay? The cost of your actions, the consequences, okay? Not even discerning people. You know, you got to take a second look at everybody now. The question, who's around you? And then what do you believe? What's your faith? Okay? Trusting everybody's, like I said, worldly antics on this get rich quick scheme, how to find your husband, all those things are fine. And I'm not saying everybody's bad, because you do have some people that give fruitful information, but you have to discern who you're listening to. But the gist of it, if you're not right, if you're not dealing with yourself and your own internal issues, your own stuff, what does it matter if you get a husband if you still dysfunctional and throw it in the inside? What does it matter to get the money in the bag and everything else, but if you have no common sense, or you're selfish and ungrateful and wicked, and what does it matter? And materialistic. What does it matter? Because we've seen people, many, that have all the money, that seem like they have all together, have the family, but then something happens. So we'll see many that will put their faith in money, faith in a man, faith in a system, faith in everything else, and belief. And those things can fail you every time. The impact can be drastic. When not listening, when not being prepared, leading people astray, okay? And then some folk just like talking about people all the time. I said, boy, this is the most gossiping generation, man, just sitting around talking about, well, he didn't do it, men and women. I'm like, Lord have mercy, even with some of the men, he didn't do it. It's different when you correcting somebody, right? Correcting for something they did wrong. But then you hear like this petty stuff like, well, he didn't do this, and he's supposed to be doing this, and I'm like, dog, for real? Oh, this is what we do? Oh, we just sit back critiquing everything. Folk got too much time on their hand, and they making money, boy. I said, this is foolishness. What are you really talking about to help the generation? As much as people talk about what everybody's doing wrong, how can you help fix it? How can you help prevent the suicides? How can you help prevent different things? Because a lot of different things, like I said, are taking place. It's because folk dealing with traumatic situations. People oppressed. You know, the struggle is real. Dealing with bad relationships, dysfunctional people. Learning to learn from your mistakes. But if you don't, like I said, it can cost you. We seeing children that are having a hatred towards their parents. Parents have hatred towards their children. Parents burying their children. Children killing their parents. Just a lot of stuff going on. Domestic violence on an all-time high. Stuff with the weather. Look, we in the last days. It's judgment. Many are being triggered. So while many think it's just about the money and all, when you don't deal with those internal things, issues you're seeing, it comes back up. So many, like I said, will justify So much justify their sin, justify this and that, needing to separate from the worldly antics, because the world will eat you up and spit you out. The enemy is sitting back looking at so many, like he got so many just by the neck. Doing all these, you might as well say like tests and trials to see how people respond, and they fall right into the trap. I don't want to say every time, but continue to fall right back into the trap. And we're watching a generation fall apart. So when I even heard ready or not, it's whether you ready or not, or you want to listen or not. I mentioned before that sometimes drastic measures are necessary. Because when you have a lot of talking and conversating and chaos, it's like we're not getting anywhere. Because even in the midst of all of this dialogue, the enemy's still moving. The enemy's still busy. People still need to be saved and delivered. Many are still battling mental health issues, dysfunctional relationships. Like I said, that has become so normalized, being in dysfunctional things. And then all you can hear all these different posts about, oh, I can't believe this happened. I don't know. Over and over. So insanity, once again, is doing the same thing over and over again with no real change. So we're seeing people get older. We're watching loved ones die. We're seeing people get the bag, get money, living their best life. But the basics and the root has been the same over and over. Has it really been a change? Can these dry bones really live? Because you have many people that are deciding a people's fate. You have some individuals, wicked individuals, that are deciding the world's fate. So as many, I guess, like I said, try to block out what's really taking place, are you ready for that? Because at the end of the day, when I'm talking about being prepared spiritually and naturally, you can be prepared spiritually, naturally all day. But if your mind, isn't wrapped, renewed, able to pray, plead the blood, preparing your heart for stuff, none of those things matter. Because you're fold under pressure. You wouldn't even be able to handle anything else. So many have the illusion that money will save you, the bag will save you, all these different things. It will not. It's a blessing to, honestly, even take in consideration the relationships that you build with people. Because some of y'all so nasty, if you were to really need something, would somebody even really help you? Because you're so funny acting. You got even in the church, family, different folk, you're funny acting. Okay, you got too many that's on this. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. My kids doing this, and folk, like I said, everybody got stuff going on. Everybody, family, got issues, got stuff going on, and we're watching all these different things unfold right before our eyes. And I say this: I want to experience God's goodness in the midst of all hell and chaos. God will keep you in perfect peace. But when you get to a place, like I said, ready or not, and you tend to not listen and, oh, I'm not going to worry about all that, we shall see. We shall see. Because like I said, it's a lot that has been affected. We see the damage in our community still, in the generation, in our kids and our families, and folk think that just nothing is going on. Oh, God is judging these things. Many think it's by coincidence, the plagues coming back, the storms, the shortages. Oh, it's a lot going on quickly at one time. So if your mind isn't right, it doesn't matter. If you're not preparing on different levels, it doesn't matter. So yes, we get our hearts right? We should be working on ourselves. By now, like I said, this is the point now. You can't wait for everybody. If they not on one accord or on board, look, folk got to get left behind. We pray they get it and get up to speed. But now, like I said, it's costing people their lives. You will have some people that will drain you. Or like I said, lead you astray, having you think I can live the way I want to live. I can sin the way I sin and go to church and skip, sing, and pray and everything else. But behind the scenes, I'm just as shady as all outdoors. And it's people that's really seeking God. Yeah, of course you're not perfect. But when you intentionally are entangled, that's different. The impact. So buckle up. Okay? It's going to be a bumpy ride. Depending on your position will depict what you experience. God has been preparing us for some time now. Ready or not, here we go. There is no hiding. There is no running. Those that continue to do the same things, okay, the injustices, the want to go back and forth and debate that people matter and that we matter and children matter and, a lot of dialogue. We shall see. Sooner than you think. So yes, we want to experience God's goodness, grace, and mercy. This is no time to fall or go backwards. That's why I said check on your people. The weight can get heavy, not just the weight of sin, but the weight of the world, the weight of life. It can get heavy. You never know what somebody's going through or what they're experiencing. Okay? All these fantasy, cause folk think they good. You don't know what folk dealing with or how it has impacted their life or affected them. So this why many be mindful of what you say about people or what you would have did or shoulda, coulda, woulda, or, talking about everybody all the time. Because it could be you. Because some folk act like they real strong and they so, thugged out and about that life or just even just ordinary people. Until tragedy hits you. Real life hits you. Because let's be real. If something go down, look, what the money gonna do? Let's just be real. What's the money gonna do? If you didn't prepare, whether it be food, water, the basic necessities, what that bag gonna mean? If the money wasn't worth anything, what would it mean? What relationships have you built? Are you able to work with your hands? I told you the enemy is crafty because you got a lot of, I'll pay somebody to do this and pay somebody. What if you don't have nobody to pay? Folk out here getting beefy and getting built and even women just getting bad. What if you had to get dirty? Would you be able to do it? Now you have some that can. I'm one of them. If you got to put your sneakers on and hit the plow, you do what you got to do. But you have a generation that's so entitled and materialistic. Some of y'all be about to holler just getting rained on. Would you be ready? Have you talked to your children? Because I'm gonna be honest, a lot of white folk and other races, they prepare their kids. But a lot of us, my people, they in la la land. Not even ready. So this is when we ask God to have mercy. Forgive us for we know not what they do. For them not seeing. Death is accelerating, y'all. That was like how many people gotta die? How much devastation has to happen for God to have your attention? That's why I say I ain't with everybody. Sometimes you do gotta move out the way. When you gotta debate and go back and forth with people about, just obvious stuff, that's a problem. But thank God that I serve a God that He has been speaking. That's why I say, even through the different people that He's been speaking through for some time, His people, right? Even through His word. This is not a game. This is not a joke. This is real life. You think He's been working on you or activating His gifts inside of you for nothing? Just cause? This awakening is just happening just cause? No, sir. It's prophecy. Come on. God is moving in His timing. Don't miss your visitation. Don't miss your ride. Don't take your grace period for granted. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Continuously repenting, examining yourself, okay? Because many will point the finger, but then you have many that will still lead folk astray. That's dangerous, especially being that we've been warned. All of us, even the wicked folk that's doing stuff behind the scene that we're seeing that's miraculously happening, miraculous blizzards and storms. Come on, these folk be showing you any movies. The enemy be giving me prophecies. Y'all watch The Simpsons, folk be talking about that too. Different things he be showing us. Even just blatant tell us, this is coming in the winter, this is coming, and folk just right over their head. Then when it happens, everybody, we're praying for this city, we're praying for that city. They actually told you it was coming. On top of God has been warning us too. Come on, Satan is opposite of God. So he's been doing his prophecies and warnings and trying to beat time, which God is time. Okay, that's what Satan's been doing. Trying to calculate and keep up with the time for what God is doing in his timing. To do what he want to do. But God allows things to happen. And he already knows because he already wrote the book. And it's still being written. While many want to debate and go back and forth and justify and have a... That was some folk, boy. Ooh, won't do too much going back and forth, that debating and talking. What is it? No. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, I mentioned before going into 23. The scripture that came to me was Psalms 23. God is with us everywhere we go. Yes, he has blessings for his people. He keeps his people in the midst of a storm. But then we still have trials and tribulations. Jacob's trouble, distress is different things that are still unfolding that have to happen. So be mindful of the relationships you have. Be mindful. Don't sit back and let your folk fall. If you see them making bad decisions, or say something, even if they don't talk to you no more. Be honest. Some of y'all will sit back watching folk go to rock bottom or go left and just sit back and watch them. And then be looking crazy and you at the funeral. Or you looking crazy when they out their mind. Or everybody just, oh, they just crazy. No, something triggered. Something led them to that point. Stress, pressure. Okay? Even, like I said, when folk don't want to acknowledge... They talk about black folk all the time. You got all these different people that got so much to say about the black woman and the black man and all this other stuff. But you don't realize, you forget how much you have helped contribute to our dysfunction, to our damage, to our trauma. And then many of us, our own selves, our families, help contribute to our damage, our trauma, our dysfunction. Is somebody going to take ownership? Okay, for yourself, because we all held accountable for your part. It's no running. It is no running. Things that the enemy will create for God's people and to hurt his church, oh, it'll come back on you. People, do you understand what you're seeing? Judgment. At the same time, God is judging his people. You don't want to listen, Israel and Judah? Death. Your kids being touched. Famine. People going through stuff. Pressure. Because one way or another, God will have everyone's undivided attention. And some should be tired. I am. I want to experience his goodness. You know, when folk feel like they got it all together, you don't know what it feels like to struggle. You don't know what it feels like to really deal with spiritual warfare because folk think they so perfect. That's why I say you're not a threat. Or you putting on for the camera phone. You putting on for TV and these other folk. Because believers deal with spiritual warfare. They deal with stuff in the spiritual and the natural. Fighting here and fighting there. It's a Harpo. All my life been fighting. We fight. It's another day to push on and fight. So you have many that are being triggered. The truth will trigger things. People will get intimidated by your light. They'll get intimidated by your press and your push. Even sometimes family. So like I said, don't allow the things of this world to consume you. Because those things can be taken. Things can happen. Put your faith and your trust in God. Be authentic in everything that you do. It's a difference. It's a different type of aroma. That's why I say I'm not talking to everybody, but it is some you can tell it's a different aroma that you let off when you are when money or performing or people are your motivation. It's a different aroma. So y'all be blessed. As I said, ready or not, we already here. Buckle up. I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a wonderful year. If I don't talk to y'all before the new year comes in, be safe. I love y'all. Okay, continue, like I said, check on your loved ones. There's a lot of people that are losing people. There's a lot of things that's happening that's going to continue to happen. So ask God to wrap your mind, continue to keep you. Even in the midst of all of this, I know people that just got engaged, people that are getting married. So God still blesses in the midst of chaos, right? He does. But just get your heart and your mind right. Your motives make a difference. So be blessed. Have a wonderful day. I love y'all, and I am Angelica with In God's Timing.